I think currently what's going on in the country with just the racial injustice that's taking place, that's really allowing the people that may not have really realized the extent of the problem in America, or really giving them an opportunity to see that these things are unjust. And while for so long, right, Black Lives Matter has been a movement that's been happening for a long time. And it's not just when Colin Kaepernick took a knee, it dates back all the way to civil rights movement, states even further back than that to slavery, and then even further back than that. While we've moved forward, we have not truly progressed in the state that this country really should. And so it's definitely been a lot of emotion, right? Every time it's emotional when lives are being reduced to a hashtag, lives that have been lost for truly absolutely no reason except for the fact that they are Black Americans living in a country that does not love Black Americans. At any point in time, that could be a family member of mine, that could be me.
Well, I think in our society right now, we're living in a time where everyone seems to want to be an expert. Everyone seems to think that they want to know everything, and I think it's very hard for people to come to terms with the fact that you might not know, and it's okay to admit that you don't know. So for me, I've tried to be as transparent as I can throughout this entire process of me trying to just educate myself, me reaching out to friends that I have that are African American and asking that, like, what can I do to help? Because to me, this is not a political issue. To me, this is a fundamental human rights issue. Equality is a fundamental human rights issue, and I want to be on the right side of that. I want to live in a country where everyone is treated equally no matter the color of their skin. And it breaks my heart, like time and time again, you just keep seeing the names, the hashtags popping up on the news day after day. People are being killed in our streets for nothing other than being Black. It's awful. And I want to be a part of that solution. So I am trying to actively listen instead of speak. I'm listening to what AJ has to say. I'm educating myself on systemic racist issues that have been going on in this country for centuries. I'm reaching out to my friends. I'm, trying to do everything that I can to help, because what's going on right now is absolutely heartbreaking, and we can't continue to go on this path. We just can't.
Allyship is a consistent education. It's consistent, active. You have to continuously be putting yourselves in positions to learn, to grow, to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask those questions. At the end of the day, just like Haylie said, that's the only way that you learn. Yes, you can read a lot of books. There's a lot of information on the internet, a lot of movies that you can grasp in understanding. You can truly develop just the notion, seeing the notion what it is to be a Black American in this country. But then if you have those that are close to you, like on the softball field, and you are genuinely concerned and you genuinely want to know how you can do better, how you can better back that person up, ask them. I think it's important but first, I really think it's important you educate yourself. I think what allies need to know, and because I do believe a lot of people have really good intention, it's important to come with specifics, right? So don't just say, listen, why is it that I can't say all lives matter, right? This is something that I feel like you should really have put in a little bit of more research into before approaching. Better question would be, AJ, I understand Black Lives Matter, but again, I also looked into All Lives Matter, and I just want to understand the difference of the two. This is what I found with All Lives. This is what I found with Black Lives. Can you just better help me understand why it is offensive to respond with All Lives Matter? Being able to learn, right? Learn, then go forth, asking those questions, and then taking action, because that's the only way that you can stop microaggression.
Really, I think the first step is really just reaching out to someone and asking what you need to know. What do you need to learn? What books can I read? What documentaries can I watch? How can I educate myself? That response has been overwhelmingly positive, I think. And then there are people, white friends that I have that, kind of not necessarily give pushback, but they're wondering, why do you care so much? And I think that's what we have to get past as white people is I care because these are my friends. These are my teammates. These are, this could be anyone that I know. And I firmly believe that all people are equal. All people deserve equal rights. Like I said, it's a fundamental human rights issue. That's why I care so much. because I don't want to see this continue to happen. We have to change. We have to change our course right now, because the way that we're going, it's not good and it's not fair.
I think that in regards to trying to be there for your Black teammates, you have to actively show that that is something that you're willing and wanting to do, not just for a week, not just for a day, but consistently. If something, like, let's say something, you overheard something, and you, in your mind, you just felt odd about it. It didn't sit right. You don't know why it didn't sit right. But to you, just, it doesn't feel like it should have been said. Ask your teammate how they felt about it. And I think at this point, you can recognize when your teammate is just something they didn't really like it, right? Or it just was something that maybe put them off. Ask them why. Ask them how they can help. How the next time that this happens, how I can be of service to you. How can I be someone to put it into this? Because I think your true friends, your true teammates are those that back you up when you're not in their presence as well. So how is it that I can also do that? So a lot of listening, and then actively assisting in trying to be an ally as far as the team and teammates. And I think it's important to express the difference between covert racism and overt racism, right? Overt racism are the people that are just directly saying, I do not like Black Americans, and they're just overtly and actively expressing their negativity and their hate, right? And then there's covert racism, where you have those microaggressions, you have those subtle comments, those things that maybe you don't even know are insults, right? You're, in your opinion, maybe you're even trying to give a compliment, right? It's like the but or the for. AJ, you are a really great athlete for a Black girl. You're pretty for a Black girl, right? These things that are truly actually extremely offensive that sometimes people don't realize are so. That's covert racism. And I think in the sport of softball, that's personally what I've experienced more of the covert racism rather than the overt racism. But, you know, it still is a knock to what I put into this game. It's been difficult to watch friends and teammates and coaches that you thought had your back, or, you know, had your back on the field, and they don't really have your back in life by remaining silent.
Yeah, I think one of the things that has been very apparent to me over the course of probably these last few weeks with how hard it's been is I need to take my relationships to a completely deeper level. I want to know more stories from my teammates. It's not just about what we can do off the field. It's about us living our lives together as a community off the field and making sure that everyone really is taken care of in an equal manner. So what I've been trying to do is just listen. Literally, that's all I've been trying to do is listen to stories, listen to people's experiences, because that's how my heart changes. That's how my perspective changes. And then once I listen and educate myself, then I can start to speak up against things that I see maybe wrong, or maybe some of those microaggressions. I think that's the battle that most of us are facing right now. Is it's not this. I love how AJ explained it, the covert and overt racism. I think I'm saying that right, but it's not like it's blatant, like I hate Black people. It's the microaggressions, it's the stereotypes, that the unconscious bias in our brains. I think that's our biggest battle right now. So I think the best way to do that is just to listen to people's stories, listen to their experiences, and try to put yourself in their shoes. Try to have some compassion for them. And understand that my experience in this country may not be anything like AJ's. It may not be anything like any other of my Black friends. And that's why I need to continue to listen and continue to hear people's stories. We as athletes are privileged to have the platforms that we have. And, I think sometimes we can be a little bit afraid to be vulnerable because we don't want to lose the followers or whatever. And that's not what it's about at all. Like, we are citizens living in this country, and we deserve to have a say. I hate that people want to separate sports and politics, because it's affecting all of us, athlete or not. Like, I don't tell a mortgage broker to just stick to mortgage broking. Like, you can't have an opinion in politics. Like, we as athletes, we deserve to have our opinions valued, and we deserve to have a platform where we can express our opinions freely. And I think we have to be vulnerable with what we are learning, what we do believe, and we can't be scared to speak out, because that's, I think, what's gotten us to this point is that, people have said, I'm not a racist, but they haven't actively spoken out against racism. I think that's the next step that we have to take. And even for myself, like, just posting about what I'm learning, posting about what I'm seeing, getting the message out to as many people as possible that relies on us and our platforms. And so we have to stand with people, we have to support people, and we have to use our voices. I mean, we cannot be silent. We cannot be silent. Silence does not produce change.
Your platform is something that you can use to educate. A lot of the times when we put things on our social media, it is for the purpose of educating. Maybe not educating on a certain topic, but educating on our lives, right? This is what we use for people to keep up with what we're doing. And I think that if you're passionate about human rights, which I hope a lot of people are, or if you're thinking that this is just not right and it's not something that you want to continue to see happen over and over again, I think you need to understand and put that out. And granted, yes, it's going to happen. You're going to lose followers. I don't know why people are so uncomfortable or so against people being actively against racism. That to me doesn't make any sense, but it's going to happen, right? But it's fine that every time you lose 3, you gain 6 more, right? Because people truly are invested and truly love the fact that you are being out there and being able to use your voice to speak against something that is not right.
For me, I just ask myself, what's right? Like, what's right? What's right in this situation? And then once I answer that, it becomes abundantly clear that I do need to use my voice and speak out against something. And then you have to ask yourself, what's more important? Is it more important for me to speak out on what I believe is right and get my opinions out there? Or is it more important for me to sit back and listen to someone continue to, in my opinion, think the wrong way or say the wrong thing? And you have to be willing to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, put yourself in an uncomfortable conversation to really just try to talk to people and listen. You have to listen to both sides, right? Like, I need to listen to you and support you 100%. I need to say that Black Lives Matter. I need to put my opinion out in that way. I also need to listen to what people on the other side are saying and thinking so I can help better sway them to understand what's actually going on in this country. Because I think you need to understand, as a white American, you do not see the country the same way that a Black American does, because your race has not had the same experiences that the Black race has seen and experienced in this country. So it's about being vulnerable, accepting that, listening to both sides, and then trying to basically lay it out for people like, no, this is why this is right. This is a human rights issue. And you just have to be willing to put yourself into that conversation, because again, if we don't talk about it, if we don't get uncomfortable, nothing will change. Nothing will change. And if you really truly want something to change, you need to do something about it. So ask yourself what's right and ask yourself what's important. And then your decisions should flow easily from there.
And I think that for anyone that is watching or that is wondering how it is that they can make a difference, how it is that they can move forward, how it is that they can help, it is genuinely by unlearning the biases, by unlearning what it is that you are supposed to know, and diving deep into actual personal conversations, personal experiences. You can read a lot about it, you can watch a lot of things on TV, but if you can even just sit down and have a conversation with someone that you care about, someone that you know, that you see every single day, and all you really see is what they do on the field, right? Maybe you hang out with them a little bit outside of the field, but I think it's important to just sit back and ask, can you tell me the first instance that you experienced racial discrimination in this country? And I promise you, it's going to date back all the way to probably when they were 8 years old or younger. And I think for some people, it's going to really shock you. It's going to be something that hopefully it hurts you to the point where you never want to allow that teammate to feel that way again. And you almost get immediately defensive of that person. Like, anytime you see someone that may be saying something that's derogatory or negative, you're the first person to say, okay, no, we're not going to do that. This is something you have to work towards, just like anything in a sport. So that I just want people to be patient with themselves. But as you know your effort. And one of my favorite quotes is, only you know your effort. Only you can tell me that if you gave 100%. And if you know that you are working avidly to try to make these changes, be patient with yourself and keep going. Keep asking, keep educating yourself, because I promise you're making a change. And your change is going to directly affect someone else's.
AJ, you're a rock star, man. Keep using your voice.
I was just going to say, I was like, Haylie's always my favorite outfielder. Not for just outfield, but just the person she is. So can't thank you enough for having her come on with me.